Hello everyone, this is group 1 and today we are going to point down the topic cultural barriers. So let's get started with this topic. Okay, so first I want to introduce our members. Our group has 7 members: Nguyễn Tiến Lượng, Nguyễn Hà Lượng, Hoàng Lâm Quyên, Nguyễn Ngọc Mai, Kim Thị Anh, Bùi Phương Ánh, and Trần Thị Thùy Linh. And this is the table of content. So the first one we find out the definitions about cultural barriers, and the second is phases of cultural shock. The third is the reason why the cultural barriers happen in business. The fourth is current situation of culture shock in business. Next is disadvantage of cultural barriers in doing business. The sixth is consequences of cultural barriers in doing business. The seventh is solutions. And the final is our quiz. Okay, so let's get started with the definitions about cultural barriers. Okay, so before I show you the definitions, so I want you to look at this picture. Okay, so this picture is one situation, and I want you to think about it and tell me what's going on in the situation. I will give you 2 minutes to think. Okay? Okay, so next you can describe with me. Okay, so can somebody tell me what's going on in the situation? Nobody? So I invite randomly, okay? So okay. So okay, can you describe me a little bit in the situation? What you see?
In this situation, I think that they have two persons have different greeting cultures. That as
Yeah.
well as the behaviors of greeting. That the one wants to shake hands and the person B wants to not, so they may have a difficulty in greeting.
Okay, so good, so good. So thank you. Hi. And this situation is about the greeting between two persons, the person A and the person B. Okay, so you can see in the slide, they want to greet each other. But maybe they have a different way to show up, okay? The person A want to shake hand, but the person B want to hum. Okay, so have you ever wondered why they have a different way to greet each other? Have you ever wondered that? Okay, so because the reason why is they come to the different countries, and so they have a different culture. This is the reason. So, in this situation, we have the cultural barriers. For the basic definition, cultural barriers is mean you have different cultures. So next is the full definitions about cultural barriers. Cultural barriers prevent people from different cultures from effectively communicating and working with each other. And cultural barrier can be caused by find differences in language, belief, or values. Okay, so next I will give you some example for the cultural barriers in company. Okay, so let's come to the culture of shaking hand when communicating by the Indian. Okay, so have you ever seen the Indian nod? They just shake the hand like this, right? Okay, so this is the unique communication behavior of the Indian. While most of other countries, a shake of the head will indicate disagreement with one opinion, but it's not the same with the Indian. They doesn't represent disapproval or negativity like in other cultures. So in the fact, the act of shaking the head is an expression of enthusiastic interest or respectful listening to the other person. So if you in the meeting you talk to the Indian partner, so when they shake their head like this, so that means they like your opinion and they want to listen more about your opinion. But sometimes we will have a mistake that you think that the Indian don't like your opinion, so you take time to tell them again and explain your opinion again, and it's lead to the ineffective communicating. And the next example is for Asian in the meeting. So the Westerner think that we Asians often lack confidence and are timid when communicating because in the meeting we're not talk too much or we don't raise our hand to show our opinion first. And in the international working environment, Westerners often complain that the Asians are very quiet and are afraid to speak freely in meeting. But the fact that Asians are open often shows to be good listener, and we will speak up after others have stopped talking. Okay, this for my example. So the next is for culture shock in international business by Daniel.
Okay, so right, so hello everyone. My name is Luke, and yes, you have seen Quyên talked about the definition of culture barriers in doing business, right? So now let me look. We'll show you about. We'll have a picture of the about the culture shock in international business. So before we understand how culture shock can influence our business doing, let me introduce you some phases of culture shock. The first of all, yes, we have the cultural surprise. That means it often happens when you first travel to from your local country to another foreign country, and so of course many different things will happen now and then. So it surprise as our instincts. They may surprise you. They surely surprise you. And second is the culture stress. it happens when you stay in the foreign country and things starting to get harder and spicy for you to get used to there. Like when let's see, when an American businessman traveled to Vietnam to do the business with the company in Vietnam. So before he gets to enter Vietnam, he must pass through lots and lots of paperwork at the airport. As we already know here, the paperwork culture in Vietnam is kind of heavy and not flexible, not optimized. It's not optimized as in the USA, right? And culture irritation. That means this will happen in the countries with heavy racism and discrimination. Things you will see on the street, like local people ignore you when you need help, or some kids will throw water on you. That means when you feel you are discriminated, and yes, you start to feel anger, as you can see on the screen. Culture fatigue. It happens when you try to fit in when you have trouble to try to fit in with the local culture. So, or when you try to learn basic, when you try to learn another new language, you have to when you try to say something, but you don't know how to say them in the foreign language. You will have to try to remember the grammar structures, or try to look up the word in their dictionary. For example, let's see. When you want to say I want tôi muốn, as a foreigner, imagine you're a foreigner, you want to say tôi muốn đi ngủ, right? But you do not know how to pronounce a Vietnamese phrase correctly. So, as many foreigners, they will make this mistake, is that they do not know how to pronounce our tone correctly. So they will say like in an accent like in the middle of the middle region of Vietnam, like tôi muốn đi ngủ, right? You often face it, or you often see it, right? Okay, so, and finally, we want to, so after all that, we want to focus, we want to get you to the phenomenon called culture shock, right? Culture shock. It happens. All this happens, not especially in the case of businessmen, when you travel to another country and you face lots of differences at once and not over time. So this is the culture shock, right? And next, I show you the 4 stages of culture shock. First of all, the honeymoon, uncertainty and doubt, adaptation. The third is adaptation, and the last is the acceptance. So, for the first one, the honeymoon. Have you ever heard about this phrase before? Right? Can somebody give me an example? How about you? Have you ever heard of the honeymoon definition of honeymoon? Where did you meet it? Where did you meet that word?
So I often encounter that word about.
No, where else do you see the word honeymoon? Where else do you see the word honeymoon? Which is it may be translated to Vietnamese as tuần trăng mật. Yes, where do you see it?
After a couple marriage.
Yes? Okay, thank you.
Couples wedding.
Yes, that's the correct one. And now imagine and exchange that honeymoon when it's the beginning of the relationship between couples to when it is the beginning of the relationship between you and the foreign culture. Yes, right? And you get the phrase honeymoon in the stage of culture shock. That means when you first travel to the country, to a foreign country, so many positive things, so many convenience. For example, when I need to travel to Japan to do business there, right? Of course, you guys know here, Japan has clean streets, right? Clean streets. People will smile at you and bow every time they greet you, right? And the most important thing that they have the high-speed rail system, right? That will enable you to travel from city to city in just 1 hour. Okay, and this is when you feel like you are on the heaven. You are on heaven. You are feel so much sweetness and happiness in the first phase of honeymoon. The second and next after the honeymoon, you gradually face the difficulty. You face the difficulty, and then you start to move on to the second stage, which is uncertainty and doubt. Okay, this is the most difficult stage in the culture shock process, because in this stage you face depression, so many depressions and depression and homesick as it settled in. Yes, like as I mentioned about the high-speed rail system before in Japan, right? When you move there, you may feel they are convenient and so modern at first, but then when you consider about the ticket prices, which is too expensive, right? Expensive, and the train there may be late between the station and station. So when say you have an appointment beginning in the next 5 minutes, but you face but the train delayed there for another 10. The train arrived to the station. It's delayed, and you have to wait for 10 more minutes. So that means you're late for your appointment. And in Japan's culture, being late and not punctual is a sin. It's a sin, right? And this is when you feel stressed, homesick, depression. You miss your local country at home again. So we move on to the number 3. This first stage of culture shock is the adaptation. After you have faced the difficulty gradually over time again, you will now move on to get used to it. Just get used to it. Okay, and finally get used to it, and finally the fourth stage is the acceptance. It doesn't mean you accept everything in the foreign local country, and it doesn't mean you feel comfortable with everything in the foreign nations cultures, but that means you finally start to accept it and live fine with it. Okay, so I have showed you the four stages of culture shock, and now we move on. Yes, I will mention some consequences. Like, first of all, the consequences of culture shock is, first of all, that means the business productivity will be decline critically. And second, it will affect you. It will affect the effectiveness of your work. It makes your work and doing business less effective. And finally, Okay, so I think that's it for the culture shock, the definition of culture shock. And now let my partner Hatu will show you about why culture shock happen in business.
Okay. Thank you for your useful information, Will. And today I am here to present to you about the reason why culture shock happened in business. Okay, so before we start, this is my answer. This is my question for all of you guys. And anyone here can tell me the reason why culture shock happened in business? Alright, so I will give you 2 minutes, and then I will call randomly. Alright, so anyone here can help me with this question? Please raise your hand. V, do you have any idea of this?
I think cultural shock happens. Cultural shock happens in business because, like, when two parties, like from two countries, has the same has different culture in such as ingredients. For example, like Japanese, they prefer like bowing before they part their party. On the other hand, like maybe Americans, like they want to shake hands. So when two bodies meet each other, like, and they do not understand the cultural ingredients, that it may have some misunderstanding or confused about their action.
Okay, so I got your idea, so thank you very much, V. That's a great question. Sorry, that's a great answer. Okay, so before I will give you the reason why culture shock happened in business. Okay, the first thing I want to mention is culture shock can happen in business when individuals or organizations encounter unfamiliar culture, norms, expectations, behaviors in a new business environment. This can occur when doing business with people from different countries. In different countries, such as in different cultures, different communication styles, and furthermore. Okay, so next, to have better information about it, I will show you a situation between Luke and Jane. Okay, so can anyone here help me to read the situation? Can you help me to read it?
Okay, his organization is that you have recently moved to the United States for work. He met again an American businesswoman at a networking event and is impressed with her personal demeanor and his expertise. We believe that having a strong relationship with a Jane is beneficial for both their business. We decided to invite Jane to his home for dinner. A traditional practice in the culture. We believe that sharing a meal
Okay, so now let us present to you our real situation here. So, are you ready to see it? Yes? Okay, cool. Can we begin it?
Okay, sure.
Right? Come in. Yes, come in. Right. Okay.
Hello,
Hey.
friends.
Hello. Hello, Miss Chen. Good evening to you.
Okay, nice to see you today. So,
Right.
yes, thank you for your invitation. And so we start.
Okay. So shall we have dinner?
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Right. So take a seat. So take a seat. Right. Okay. So and do you want something to drink? Like yes.
No.
Champagne.
Champagne? No, I have to drive.
Right. Okay. That's okay. That's no problem. Okay. So
You didn't give me any other drinks?
so sorry. Well, I'm not. Well, I haven't prepared for this yet. This is so to something. So shall we have the? Yes, we have the dinner.
Okay, sure.
Let me take the bowl. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, this is a spoon.
Okay.
Okay, spoon. And yes, chopstick.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, you know that I'm Vietnamese a lot. Okay.
Okay. But before we start, you know that I'm not a person who used to using this Asian beauty size. Can you please give me a knife?
A knife? Yes.
Okay.
Got you.
Because I don't know how to use this chopstick. No, it's really hard for me.
Okay.
Oh my god.
There you
Really?
go.
You want to kill me?
Oh no, this is a knife. You asked for a knife.
I asked for a knife, but I asked for a knife which is using in eating food, not a knife like this. You really want to kill me?
Oh no,
With this?
sorry.
Really?
But this is the only thing my teaching does. So.
Okay, so how about a fork? Can you give me it? I think that is really hard for me to use this. It's too dangerous. Can you please give it back?
Fork. Well, in Vietnam, you only use fork to eat fruit.
Really? So you don't have a fork too?
No.
No, so what can I do with this? What can I do with this? It's
No.
really hard for me.
You get used to it. Just use it. Here you go. Your knife.
Oh my god, with the knife?
Yes.
Oh, I want a blunt one. Do you have another?
Well, a blunt one. A blunt one can never cut anything.
But it can help me. But it's not dangerous like this. I can use this as like this, but it's too dangerous.
Right. Well, you get used to it.
Oh no, it's so crazy.
Okay. So on top of that, yes, I would like to invite you. Let's see. We have yes the top quality food in Vietnam, which is vermicelli with fried tofu and mắm tôm.
Mắm tôm?
Mắm tôm.
So,
Have you heard mắm tôm before? You know mắm tôm? It's
no,
popular.
I haven't heard it before. So what is this?
Wait a minute.
Really?
Here you go.
Really? You invite me this?
Yes.
I eat this?
Yes.
What?
Come on, it's good.
Really? But I only eat mắm tôm. It doesn't have any other food because it smells so disgusting.
Come on, you get used to it.
God, I cannot eat it. It smells like a dead cat. Oh God.
Oh, but it's
really,
good.
friends?
Come on.
This is our first match. God.
Okay, never mind that. Alright?
Okay.
So, I heard you're here to discuss about the contract, right?
Contract?
You mentioned about the contract, but you didn't know anything about me. I cannot eat or I cannot drink. And now you mentioned about the contracts, really?
Come on.
Oh, sure.
No, you must know that in Vietnam we do not sign contract normally in the office. We sign contract, yes,
That is really
on
nice.
the dining table and coffee shop. Well, you must know that.
No, I didn't know that. I just came here because you invited me to have the dinner, and then you invite me some crazy and terrible food in Vietnam. I cannot eat it.
Come on, just eat it. Try one. And you.
Okay, so I will try a little bit.
Oh, but wait, before that, yes, before that, yeah, tôi mời trên ăn cơm nhé. I invite you to eat. Yes, yes.
No, if you already invited me there, so why you still say invite? What does it mean?
Come on, in Vietnam, before we start the meal, we often say we invite everyone in our family to eat, right? Everyone here?
Yes.
Yeah? Good.
What? Where is anyone? Only you and me.
So, okay, so you gonna eat or not?
Okay, so I will try a little bit one, okay?
Is that good?
Yes, it's terrible like you.
Oh, come on. Is that right, so, oh, I had this one was good. Try this. Oh, you must eat it with, yes,
Okay,
tofu.
so, okay, I
Tofu.
okay, thanks, but I can do it
Yeah,
myself.
dip in shrimp paste. Mắm tôm. And now, yeah.
Oh, yes, thank you. But I think it's like a sanitation. I can do it myself. Make yourself.
No, you have to do it.
Why do I have to do it? I can do
You have
it.
to show I care about you.
Really? But I
Yes,
think
you know,
it's
if you
like
want to
a,
show we care about people.
I think it's like a sanitation. Ew. Really, man. You put it in your mouth and then you give food for me like this? Really?
Christina, it's terrible.
Yes, it's really terrible. And I have to go now. Thank you so much for nothing.
No contract here. No contract here anymore.
Thank you.
So, as you can see there, as you saw there, Vietnamese people have a lot of conflict in culture and misunderstanding when doing business with foreign partners. So the reason why this contract eventually is failed because I didn't understand that he was in America, he was in the USA, but however he thought that this is in Vietnam. This was in Vietnam, and he treated Jane like a Vietnamese woman. So.
Okay, so as you can see, that James has a terrible feeling after having dinner with her because it seems James thought that didn't understand about her culture. Okay, so as you can see, that this is the big problem.
Okay.
First
So,
culture shock.
okay. Shall we move on to the next part?
Yes, thank you. Okay, so as you can see that after the situation, culture shock in Vietnamese can lead to misunderstandings and misconnections. Misunderstanding is commonly happened in every business, so that's why it can lead to fail in communication. It can lead to fail in language, and miscommunication can lead to fail in communication. And also different styles. So this really affects on performance and success of our companies. So try your best to avoid it between Asian country and Western country. In Asian country, we have to take time to build personal relationship before discussing business. While in the Western country, business may be conducted immediately without establishing personal relationship. So it depends on you. What do you think is more effective? What do you think is the most effective way to build a relationship between Asian country and Western country? What do you think is more effective? Okay, so Don, do you have any idea of this? What do you think is more effective? The way to build relationship, personal relationship in Western country or Asian country?
So, and then if you are the leader of this group, you need to have a short meeting to participate between people in the Asian countries and the Western country to clear some different style work or something like that to clear all the things when they start working together.
Okay, so I agree with your opinion. So it means that Asian country is more effective than Western country, right? Because when you're meeting face to face, you will know more about their information, right? And how to cooperate perfectly. Okay, so thank you so much for your ideas. And now I will. Okay, and now Trần Thị Thùy Linh will present about current situations of culture shock. Okay, thank you.
So we have shared much about the Israeli situation from the end. And so I will talk to you about the current situations of culture shock in business. Okay, so there are the contents I want to mention. The first one is about the lifestyle, body language, time, ages, and eating habit. First one, look at the screen and you can see it's about the time. Time problem is really important, right? Especially in the Asian countries and in the Western countries, they are so important in the time and even the functionality. Because when you come to a company, right, you are an employee. You have to check in and check out to confirm about your work that you went to your company to do your job. But in class still, like in my appearance and in my information on the internet, I shared that with Brazilian, they have habit to go to their workplace so late. I mean that it's an illicit time that, for example, the meeting starts in the 8 a.m. The 8 a.m. However, they all go to the company at 8:30, roughly. Yeah, they're also late. So I think it's like it's kind of working habit they have. So it's really hard to change. And if they go to Vietnam, for example, they usually need to be present on time. Okay, so next one about another problem. I want to mention about the different ages. About the ages that you can see in the picture that describes to you so clear that you have many people from many places with different ages, from younger or older. So I take an example to you to understand that in the Korean community that someone go or attend the community later than anyone else, they also going to call the senior big boy, right? And even they have to bow their head about the 90 degrees like that, right? So I think that it's not similar in Vietnam that we enjoy in a company that we only need to say hi, say hello, okay, with the old employee. So I think it's really different in our culture that we have to take time to get involved. And this one about the body language, like I talked about the you need to bow your head. That you have many body languages here that hug, smile, nod, bow, or touch, kiss, even shake hands. So can you tell me how about the body language in the greeting we have in Vietnam? How about what do you think about about greeting in Vietnam when you meet any question? What kind of body language do you prefer? Yeah, you wave. What else? Smile, very good. And nod. Yeah, it's kind of body language in greeting in Vietnam, right? So like we talked about that Indian usually shake their head like that. So we have many kind of body language in greeting. And the last one we have to mention, is the eating habit. That I know that many companies have the lunch for employees, right? So eating habit is kind of important in the business. Like the first picture that you know is a kind of cutlery in the Western countries. So can you tell me about what are the cutlery they have? The cutlery they have is the fork, the spoon, and the knife. However, in Asian countries, in the second picture like that, we have chopstick like that, and even we have dish and bowl, right? So it's kind of so different in between Asian and Western countries. So anyone from Western countries go to Vietnam, they have to learn how to keep chopstick on the hands. And even about the taste, that many students go to overseas to study, right? They feel they're not suitable in the taste of food in Western countries, and so it's kind of problem. Or go to overseas to join any company. So that kind of current situations we have in business. And so move to another part. Number 5, we might talk about it.
So, hello everyone, my name is Iman. So today I'm going to talk about the cultural barrier in doing business.
statement is employee interact with each other according to their culture standards. Work etiquette is a term you can use to describe someone's social behavior in the workplace. These are some habits and qualities that you work along with work etiquette. The first is punctuality, is getting to work or for a meeting on time. Vary across diverse culture. Some culture like Christians find this quality quite significant and do not tolerate the tardiness. On the other hand, in Brazil and Argentina, it's quite common to come late for meetings at least half an hour after the meeting starts. About the second point is greetings. In Singapore, they appreciate a gentle handshake that lasts around 10 seconds. And in here, a handshake by greeting a person with their titles like Mr., Mrs., and Sir. And when it comes to Brazil, greeting each other with a firm handshake or a kiss on the cheek. And in the Japanese, value bowing with your back straight while your hands are at the side. The first point I want to mention is handing out business cards. So when it comes to business culture, they usually exchange business cards during the initial introduction. And about the Singapore, it's wiser to present business card with both hands. If you find yourself at a meeting with a Japanese business worker, you remember not to throw and write on the business card. And as for India's culture, it's a culture not to give and receive business card by using left hand. And the last point I want to mention is work-life balances. And in Singapore, for instance, in Singapore, work is priority and often employees are expected to responsive after working hours. At the same time, some cultures tend to keep a better balance between work and life. Employee, for example, in French, employees have the right to switch off after work and are not to answer any emails outside the working hours. So before the second statement I want to talk about, I have a question for you guys. What do you know about individualistic culture and hierarchical culture? I will give you 1 minute to share about it, and I will call randomly to answer my question. So this is thumbs up. Um, Juan, can you answer my questions? What do you know?
Individualistic culture is characterized by individualism, which is the prioritization or emphasis of individual over the entire group. And the hierarchical culture is a company culture built on shared values, top-down decision-making, and internal predictability.
Yes, I appreciate your answer. Yes, this quite match with my answer. And in cross culture psychology, an individualistic culture is a community that prioritize the individual over the collective group. Individualistic culture emphasizes the attribute. And hierarchical culture is a type of organizational culture that emphasizes long-term stability and consistent structure and shared shape of value throughout the entire organization. So, employees have a hard time to share idea openly. In general, when it comes to express idea and opinions, employees from individualistic culture, like Australia and United States, tend to share their viewpoint with. Also, in the Irish team members is equally important. They are not afraid of disagreeing with the management. And about the hierarchical culture, such as Japan, India, and Middle East country, are accustomed to expressing their thoughts only after their senior co-worker have shared their point of view. And the hierarchical standards mean a lot in Singapore too. According to Reddit user, at the meeting with a client, only senior managers are allowed to speak, while juniors just only can listen. And employee perceive personal space differently across culture. Like Erin Mayers are an author of the culture map, said that if you are negotiating with other cultures, you need to be aware of particular rules. And in Brazil, when someone disagrees with you, it doesn't mean your deal is off, but it's an invitation to lively discussions. It would be at the same time, it's such behavior would be a deal breaker in Mexico. And she also highlight that when disagreeing some culture use a lot of upgrade their words like completely and absolutely. This applies to Russians, French, Germans, Irish, and Dutch. However, some cultures use downgrader in such situations to soften the disagreements. So, Mexican, Thai, and Japanese, you would like partially and a little bit. Employee when communicates with your colleagues, you probably won't stand too slow, so you won't invade their privacy. But house clothes, people in Argentina and other South American countries demand a less personal space than people from Asian countries. And the last statement I want to mention is employees from some cultures are less likely to disagree with others. Some cultures appreciate good harmony, which is why their members find it hard to express their disagreements. That's because the people believe that disagreements can lead to conflict that disrupt group harmony. At the same time, some cultures value have a good flight and claim that it is a desired trust within the culture. For instance, employees from Latin and Middle Eastern culture usually raise their voice to resolve their arguments. However, workers from Asian and Scandinavian solve their disagreements by using silent and body languages. This is the end of my part. So the next part will be presented by
Hello everyone, my name is Wang. I'm so honored to be here to talk about the consequences of cultural barrier in doing business. Okay, so now I will have questions for all of you guys. Can you please tell me the consequences that you can think when it comes to cultural barrier in doing business? I'll give you 2 minutes. Please think about this, and then after that I will call some people randomly. The questions I asked is, can you please tell me the consequences that you can think of cultural barriers in doing business? Okay, so I'm sorry. Anyone volunteer? Okay, so I will call randomly. Queen, can you tell me the consequences that cultural barriers in doing business you can think? Just give your opinion.
So can you explain more or give me the similar meaning with the consequences?
Like when those cultural barriers in business, in doing business happen, so they can lead to some consequences, and then you can think, what are those consequences are?
So I think that if you have cultural barriers, maybe it lead to lead to the unsuccessful conversations.
Yes, successful conversations. Okay.
Also, like you cannot do well about 100% of dealing with the partners. Yes, it's like work productivity increase. Yes, that's right. Thank you, Queen. I really appreciate your opinion. And other ideas. So, can you give me your opinion? Yes, misunderstanding. Yes, that's right. Thank you for your opinion. So now, like the cultural barriers in doing business can lead to a variety of consequences. But today I'm gonna talk about some main consequences that I think it will happen the most. The first is miscommunications. Cultures are characterized by different behaviors, communication styles, norms, and also like the behaviors of people. Therefore, cultural barriers can lead to miscommunications and result when people from different cultures interact. They bring different perspectives to the table, which in turn may result in potential misunderstandings. Okay, so let me give you an example to understand easily. Western cultures value the presence of eye contact, meanwhile the Eastern one consider is kind of disrespect. Specifically, American culture consider it's no rude to not look at the person who is speaking. Meanwhile, Japanese cultures consider it injustice to give too much direct eye contact. Like you keep staring at people when you're talking. Maybe Japanese people you feel is like really disrespectful to them. Okay, so the next is conflict among co-workers. In the beginning, cultural barriers can create misunderstanding, but in the long run, it also can bring many like effect, and especially it can cause conflict, demoralization, low morale of employees, and even lead to religious discriminations. Okay, so I will give you another example so you guys will easy understand. For example, when an American employee who is familiar with the culture that people dare to speak up and is not scared to against the views of the boss, he or she may feel very like pressure when working in a Japanese economy because the Japanese culture emphasize each other's status in the company, and the Japanese employees tend to submit their superiors unconditionally. The next is colleague relationship goes down. Like for when foreign employees often face pressure and fatigue from cultural barriers, they desperately need help from their boss and also the co-workers. But if boss and co-workers do not do anything to support or just ignore them, they will feel like sad and also lose faith just in the boss, and even think that the boss and the co-workers has something discriminations because they are foreigners. And next, I think that's so really, really important, and it can cause like big effect in workplace. That is deeply in work productivity. The first is so easy to say is missing the deadline. Cultural barriers can lead to lived lives because we know that different countries perceive time differently. I think that we can know very well after we learn this course. So to make you guys understand easily, I'll give you another example. You can see on my screen, I have two flags. The first is Switzerland, and another second is Italy. Switzerland belongs to European culture, which in future time is really carefully planned and tasks are assigned to acceptance and given a limited amount of time. Meanwhile, Italy belongs to Polish culture, which people do several tasks at the same time and don't have to complete before beginning the next. Therefore, if a new Italian move to Swiss company, she or he can easily run into a problem with deadlines. Another type of decrease in work productivities is poor performance. When communications break down, it can lead to a variety of consequences. But I believe that the end reason the old way reduce work performance. At the same time, when employee under a lot of pressure, that can make them cannot maximize their effort and ability to work, but also gradually lose their motivation, their faith, lack of motivation, and don't care about the success of the organization anymore. Last but not least, is it can cause damage negotiation relationship with other business. If a company fails to understand local business practice, it can lead to misunderstanding, conflict, and that can damage business relationship. Okay. It's the most easy example to understand, like we have learned from our classroom. I will repeat it again. There's an American company sent a businessman to Japanese companies to negotiate a contract, but even though the businessman is the most persuasive negotiator in the company, but like he still failed to negotiate contract with Japan because the different culture, the culture barrier is so big. We don't know about the Japanese culture, business culture. Therefore, he failed to sign contract with other business. That's all about my part. The next, my friend and I will talk about solution.
Hi everyone, my name is Mamai. So now I'm going to talk about the solution of cultural barriers. So as you know, cultural barriers that appear in the business and often leads to misunderstanding and make it difficult for you to maintain or develop the relationship with the leaders or the colleges or even the customer. And so now I will talk about some ways to overcome the cultural barriers in business. And the first solution I want to talk is ensure clear and polite communication. And clear and polite communication reduce the chances of surprises, crisis, or and confrontations. Employers and employees should consider the delivery and cultural differences while drafting communication material. And I think they should use the simple words to communicate with each other and use visual methods to communicate results. And moreover, they should avoid slang words or phrases. So it is a useful ways to overcome the barrier control, right? So next one, the second solution I want to mention here is learn about different cultures. Asking polite questions of each other culture is and expressing willingness to learn about the different cultures, different cultural backgrounds can foster workplace relationship, and it is really important to create a culture of inquiry, and where asking questions is encouraged, and being patient and understanding about the different cultures, speaking against the discrimination at the workplace, and continuously learning about changing cultures are all the effective ways to make the workplaces more inclusive. And the third solution I want to talk is shared knowledge. Diversity recruiting ability to produce creative outcomes and has limits within the ability of a workforce to share cultural knowledge. And the evidence shows that knowledge sharing and collective contribution produce creative outcomes. Knowledge from different cultural backgrounds and experiences stimulates the cultural inclusion and results in innovation. And thus, it is beneficial for both individual and organization to make knowledge sharing be an important part of their culture. And the last one. The last one, employ diversity training. And another way to overcome the cultural barrier is to ensure there is inclusion. There is an inclusion of people of different cultures, backgrounds in the workplace. And diversity training can potentially foster inclusive work culture, and it can encourage the teamwork and leadership. Moreover, it also create new opportunities and thereby create a positive work culture. And this training will help employees and employee understand and embrace the cultural differences of their co-workers, and co-worker embrace with each other. And hence, accommodating cultural commonality and differences is extremely important to overcome cultural barriers. This is also sometimes to keep in mind while drafting communication material that is sent out to staff and clients. And the next part is our quizzes. And so now the whole class, let's read the requirement and choose the correct answer.
If you get the correct answer, you will get the reward. So guys, let's play this to get reward. Okay, we have chewy candy waiting for you to be received. Okay, so
Okay, the first question. following is an example of cultural barrier? A, B, C, or D? Okay. Hi. Can you?
I choose A.
A? Okay, let's see. Okay, that's the right answer. And the next question. Okay, you give. No. Other. Read the statement and decide which state in cultural shock does it belong to.
First Nations are often subdued as travelers, begin to feel more familiar and comfortable with the cultures.
People, food, and languages of new environments. A, B, C, or D? Anyone knows? Or anyone know? Let's raise your hand. Can you?
C.
See? Okay, let's see. Yeah, okay. That's the right answer. You will have. And the next question. How many types of cultural shock in business? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Anyone knows? Anyone knows? See? Okay, let's see. No? That's wrong. Okay, cool. Two types. Let's see. Okay, that's the right answer. And you receive the candy. And the next question, what kind of cultural shock in business? Okay, Lana. D, right? So now let's see the answer. Yes, this is the correct answer. Okay, and the next question, which of following are the consequences of cultural barriers in doing business? Okay, Tuan. Okay, now let's see the answer. Okay, that's the right answer. And the next question. In which country usually exchange their business cards during the initial introduction? No. Anyone knows? Let's raise your hand to receive the gift from our team. Okay, Juan, please. Are you right? Yes, that's the right answer. Excellent. Very good. So, British, yes, British. Bristol, yes. Okay, sorry, my mistake. And the next question. Which is the solution of cultural barrier? A, quit the job. We learn about different cultures. See, everything to college, and we ask everyone to symbolize. Anyone knows? Anyone? Thảo. B. B, right? So now let's see. Yes, B